One day at work, John Henry was having a conversation with his boss. He said, "Boss, this year here, this here gonna be my year, boss." You see, John Henry was born a slave, and he was a slave all the way up until emancipation set him free. Now he's a free man. Now that John Henry was a free man, he found his true calling working for the C&O Railroad. He really loved what he did. John Henry took a lot of pride in his job with the C&O Railroad. He would work from sun up to sundown. The C&O wasn't the largest railroad in the country, but folks really did depend on it to move back and forth from state to state and to get around. Captain Tommy was John Henry's boss. He was a fair man, and John Henry really enjoyed working for him. John Henry's job, as was all the other rail working men, was to drill holes into the rock, fill it with nitroglycerin, and blow it to smithereens. Now, John Henry was the biggest and strongest of all the men working for the railroads. John Henry told his boss he could drive more steel than 10 men. Little Bill has to shake for John Henry, while John Henry shows Captain Tommy all his steel driving skills. John Henry begins to toss and swing his hammer impressively, power driving that steel and impressing Captain Tommy. Captain Tommy inspects the work that John Henry has just done, and he realizing that this man is definitely all he says he is. Driving steel is hard work. Smoke and dust so thick you can't even see in front of you. Now one day out of the blue, a salesman shows up and tries to sell Captain Tommy a machine that drives steel. The salesman claims his machine will outdrive 20 men and does not need to eat or to rest. Well, now, Captain Tommy, having the utmost confidence in John Henry, said, "John Henry will beat your machine, or else." "Or else what?" says the salesman. Boss says, "If your machine beats John Henry, I'll buy two." See, now, the salesman considered this a fool's bet and shook on it right away, not realizing that John Henry was the most powerful steel driving man in the land. On the day of the contest, steel drivers and spectators and farmers from all over the land came to see John Henry. Before the race begins, John Henry has to take his hammers to the blacksmith to get them sharpened. Before the race can commence, the captain gets everybody into position, John Henry and the machine, and yells, "Go!" As the crowd watches in awe, John Henry and the machine race neck and neck. No one can tell who is ahead or who's behind. For 8 hours straight, the battle continues. John Henry versus the machine. Dust and debris flying everywhere until the race is over. Now it's the captain's job to count the holes and determine the winner. 17 holes, he proclaims, for the machine, but 25 holes for John Henry. As Captain Tommy gets ready to congratulate John Henry on such a fine job done, he realizes that John Henry has had a heart attack from too much exhaustion and fighting this machine. The end.